You're watching the ACC on ESPN from Littlejohn Coliseum in Clemson, South Carolina. It's the Clemson Tigers against the Virginia Tech Hokies alongside former Virginia great Corey Alexander. I'm Anthony Schropp. Clemson in the gulags of the ACC. They've lost 5 straight, 1-5 in league play. But when you look at their overall resume, no reason to be gloomy. BPI, RPI still pretty good. Joe Lunardi, I know it's early, but he has them in the NCAA tournament field right now. And oh, by the way, Corey, they still have one of the best players in the ACC.
And that's really where you start. When you have a guy like Jerron Blossomgame leading your team, you're always going to have a chance of returning all-ACC performer from a year ago. And he's only gotten better this season. The ability to stretch the ball from beyond the three-point arc as well as defend the rim. And Jerron Blossomgame, one of the most versatile players in the ACC. And you see 6'7", 220, unbelievable athlete. And more importantly, he's a team-first guy. It's about winning. And now for Clemson, it needs to manifest for them on the court.
Blossomgame did sprain the thumb on his shooting hand in Thursday's 30-point loss to Louisville. Something to watch. He didn't practice the last couple of games, but did take part in shoot-around today. Virginia Tech coming off a thrilling win Wednesday against Georgia Tech. The Hokies 3-3 in conference, 14-4 overall. And Virginia Tech wins the tip going right to left. Here's Justin Robinson, held scoreless in that win against Tech.
Believe it or not, Justin Robinson was scoreless in the 2 wins they had at home during that 3-game stretch. Had a big game in the game they actually lost to Notre Dame.
There's Seth Allen. He's had a great senior year. He had the game winner against Georgia Tech. And Clemson pulls down a rebound, which has been a problem for this team in league play.
And finishing defensive possessions is going to be important for Clemson, but also very important for Virginia Tech. Both these teams somewhat at the bottom of the ACC in rebound margins, so both coaches making sure that their teams are locked in and know they have to get that done here today to get a win.
Here's Blossomgame. The runner does not go, and the rebound pulled down by the freshman Hadim C. Justin Bibbs kicks to Robinson. The 3 is not there. The rebound by Avery Holmes, graduate student from Salem, Oregon.
You see Virginia Tech coming out in the zone. More of a matchup than it is a 2-3 zone. But trading off opportunities and really slowing Clemson down on the offensive end of the floor as they try to recognize where offense they need to be running.
No good by Shelton Mitchell. Here comes Robinson the other way. Drops it off for Allen, who will reset. 2 point guards essentially with Allen and Robinson on the floor.
Well, and this may be Seth Allen's first start of the season. He's been coming off the bench all year, but a beautiful feed from Allen finding his lead in the paint.
Talking to Buzz Williams at shoot-around today, he said Seth Allen is a senior. His efficiency's off the charts. He's making better decisions as Holmes hits the 3. He was really pleased with the maturity of number 4.
And he also mentioned how Seth Allen wasn't taking tired shots and bad shots. Seth Allen was so valuable to Virginia Tech last year. Buzz Williams really didn't bring him off the floor. This is his first start on the season, getting in the starting lineup, but he's been so valuable that once he normally comes into games, he never checks out at that point.
Robinson into the scoring column after going scoreless on Wednesday.
And for scorers, that's the best way. And Justin Robinson has been a big scorer his whole life. Even though he is a true point guard, he can put points on the board. And instead of relying on the jump shot, does a great job attacking the rim to get it easy.
There's Dante Grantham. Holmes looking for help. 5 to shoot. Grantham to turn around. Doesn't get it. And the rebound corralled by Ty Outlaw, the junior.
This is where Seth Allen's so dangerous in the middle of the floor with the screen. You see Clemson paying him a lot of attention.
He finds Outlaw in the corner, who drains the 3. Ty Outlaw, who missed all of last year with a heart ailment. 3rd stop, UNC Greensboro Junior College, and then Virginia Tech. And they've got a first whistle away from the ball.
That's his first. Hokies first.
There's Buzz Williams, 10th season, third at Virginia Tech. Had a great run at Marquette, took the Golden Eagles to an Elite Eight. I asked him before the game, when does the jacket come off? Under 10, under 8. He said the cooling system at the refurbished Littlejohn Coliseum has not been improved, so it may come off even earlier.
Well, normally Coach Buzz has a couple of outfits with him, so I mean, again.
He told me he only brought one shirt today.
Okay, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have a different suit. You don't know. Buzz may come with something different.
Blossom game shot is not there. Crowd wanted to walk. Here's Zach Leday coming off the bench for Virginia Tech. He's their leading scorer. Chris Clark, who's been their leading scorer in conference play, not starting for the second straight game. We have yet to see him.
And also leading rebounder with Chris Clark, a double-double threat at all points. But Buzz Williams likes to have that versatility of having guys he can bring off the bench to play against backup from the opposing teams and try to have an advantage.
Grantham, catch and shoot. No good.
Virginia Tech doing a very good job limiting Clemson to one shot on their offensive end of the floor thus far.
Ten to shoot. Zach Leday uses the shot fake right down the lane. A 7-0 run by the Hokies.
And that's why Zach Leday is so dangerous, because you have to respect his ability to shoot the three. City Jete comes out, and once he gets him in the air, there was no one to defend Zach Leday as he goes to the rim.
Jete, good position on the inside. Blossom game able to finish, and he'll go to the free throw line.
Zach Leday checks into the game, coming off the bench for Virginia Tech and making an immediate impact. The pump fake down the lane for the finish. Zach Leday feeling good about the Hokies start as they lead 9-5.
ACC Sunday Night Basketball. We told you at the top of the broadcast, Clemson has an established star in Jerron Blossom game. Virginia Tech has a emerging star in Chris Clark.
And Chris Clark is another one of those versatile young players. Already has a triple-double in his possession in the ACC. I'm sorry, not an ACC play, but a non-conference play for Virginia Tech. But yet Chris Clark is a young man who is leading Virginia Tech in scoring, rebounding, steals per game in ACC play throughout the 6 games that they've played so far. And Buzz Williams is now saving him, bringing him off the bench to give them that spark going into the second part of the game, after the first time out. And what he does is allows his team to increase their energy in comparison to having some type of fall off when he goes to the bench. Chris Clark brings more energy into the lineup.
Talking to Clemson head coach Brad Brownell today, he said Chris Clark scares him. Clark is a one-man fast break, and for Clemson, that's a big point of emphasis, taking away that Virginia Tech fast break. As Jerron Blossom game will shoot the free throw after making a basket and getting fouled before we went to break.
And you see both these guys, and very similar as to their style of play. Chris Clark maybe a little better ball handler than Blossom game. Blossom game stronger, a little better in the post. But both these guys extremely versatile. And more importantly, they're great rebounders who not only rebound the basketball, but they can also start the fast break because they have the ability to push it. And they'll be matched up against each other here in this stretch of the game.
Clark has really improved his game, especially as a passer and ball handler. Clark guarded by Blossom game, 10 to shoot. Here's Bibbs, picked up by Gabe DeVoe, doubled, kicks to Clark for 3. That's still not quite part of his game as DeVoe comes up with the board.
But is improved, and he really wouldn't have taken that shot a year ago.
Great position down low by the Texas A&M transfer, Elijah Thomas.
And Elijah Thomas gives Clemson a post-present scoring threat. City Jete is a very good player, but more of a defender, shot blocker, and someone that can step out and shoot the jump shot. Elijah Thomas gives you that guy who can go get you a bucket down in the paint.
Leday's 3 not there. Here comes Ty Hudson now in the game. Robinson 1 and white along with Gabe DeVoe, Marquise Reed, Thomas, and Blossom game.
And this is where you really see the truest difference with Clemson this year. They go 9 deep with true quality ACC players. And that's going to be a great job by Todd Hudson getting back and getting outside of the restricted area to stop Justin Robinson coming back. And you see Justin Robinson with his quickness trying to get to the rim, but give Todd Hudson credit for coming back and stopping the fast break.
Robinson to the bench, Ahmed Hill into the game for Virginia Tech. And Ahmed Hill was somebody the Hokies really missed last year. Perimeter defense, three-point shooting. He missed all of last year with a knee injury. He's back. He's been a threat from the outside and defensively.
Well, he's top 30 nationally in three-point shooting percentage, so he brings an immediate threat on the court just because you have to know where he is at all times when you're on the defensive end of the floor.
Thomas over Clark, able to draw the foul.
And oftentimes what Virginia Tech does, they make you have to match up to them because they'll play small ball. But Brad Brownell is going to continue to play one of his bigs, whether it's Jate or Elijah Thomas in the paint. And for Clemson, they have to make sure that they're looking to establish that because it's going to be a disadvantage for those guys on the defensive end of the floor.
Brad Brownell talked about the challenges facing Louisville's size and North Carolina's size in conference play. Virginia Tech does not have a ton of size, and part of the reason both of these teams have struggled to rebound in conference play.
Virginia Tech doesn't have a lot of size, but they've got speed, and that's what's concerned Brad Brownell. And more importantly, how does he keep these guards out of the paint? Brad Brownell, with all these offensive players, is a great defensive mind at heart, and it's a struggle for him right now to see all these very good offensive players and how they're really not quite yet bought in to playing defensively the way that Clemson has been established over the last 6 seasons that he's been here.
Here's Leday, and a foul on the floor. You were an offensive player, Corey.
Are you saying that I couldn't play defense?
I was not even going to go there.
I got you, okay.
But would you have played in today's age for the likes of Tony Bennett, let's say, at your alma mater, Virginia?
Would I? Maybe, but I would say that, honestly, I don't know if my style of play, the way I played coming out of high school, fit into what that was.
So he wouldn't have recruited you?
I'm not sure if they would have recruited me because, again, I was a ball-dominant guard who liked to try to score, and I think Virginia's style of play is a little more deliberate, and Tony Bennett wants to limit the possessions, and I wasn't a possession limiter.
So humble, Corey. Leday gets the roll.
And now that's the area where Zach Leday, at 6'7", when he can go score over 6'9" and 6'10" guys, he really brings a different dimension to Virginia Tech.
Three-pointer not there for DeVoe. Clark leaves it for Allen. Clark gets the offensive rebound. Finds Allen cutting to the basket. And Seth Allen able to draw the foul underneath on Elijah Thomas.
And Zach Leday, when you see, he gives up a couple of inches to Elijah Thomas, but yet crafty enough and skilled enough to go to the left hand and score that off the glass. And that's why Buzz Williams doesn't really have a problem going small, because he knows that regardless of the fact of how tall Zach Leday is, he plays much bigger than his listed size.
Chris Clark comes to the bench. Bibbs off the inbounds. Three is not there. He has not shot it as well from three this year as he did the previous 2 seasons.
But even though he hasn't shot as well this year, he's still the all-time leader in three-point percentage for a career at Virginia Tech. That just shows you how well he shot in the past. And if he's able to regain that touch, that's another dangerous weapon that the Hokies have on the floor.
Less than 10 to shoot. Grantham hits the three. First field goal for Dante Grantham, the junior out of West Virginia.
And speaking of shooting touch, at 6'8", Grantham can get his shot off pretty much against anyone. What Brad Brownell wants to see Grantham do better is the other things, the defense, the rebounding, and attacking the paint.
Allen passes out of the double team. Leday driving on Thomas, and one.
When you're playing against the zone, you always have to identify where Dante Grantham is. However, his three is not enough. Virginia Tech still holding a 2-point lead.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Walt Disney World Resort. The magic is endless, and one-a-day men's and women's.
Littlejohn Coliseum got a $63.5 million offseason facelift. It took 16 months to complete. Clemson last season played their home games in Greenville. Incredible new arena, great facilities. They've got a 36-foot above floor video board. It's only missing one thing, Corey. They do not have an ACC win in the refurbished Littlejohn Coliseum.
I agree with you on that one. And you know it takes a lot for me to agree with you, so that was actually a pretty good point.
Let's bottle this moment, savor it forever.
You know, but you think about this place, the state of the art, unbelievable. And of course, I played in the old Littlejohn and called games here. When you come in, and it's my first time seeing it in person, it really is a completely different atmosphere. And when you add the practice facility into what they have, a great recruiting tool for Brad Brownell and his program. And I'm happy to see Clemson really invest in these funds into this building, and they've done a tremendous job with it.
Zach Leday has scored at the last 7 for Virginia Tech. He's off to a nice start. Elijah Thomas has 2 fouls for Clemson. He's on the bench. Sidi Jete back in.
Buzz Williams mixing up his defenses. Now Virginia Tech goes back into a 1-3-1 defense. And really with an attempt to confuse Clemson, but when you're going to play the zones, you have to know what Avery Holmes is as he knocks down his second 3 here early in this contest.
In ACC play, Holmes shooting 47% from 3. Allen behind the back. This is what Clemson wants Virginia Tech in the half court. Bibbs down low. Hadim C with the bucket and the foul.
And a beautiful find by Justin Bibbs. Coming off the screen and really raising up as though he's going to shoot it. Give Hadim C a lot of credit because a lot of big guys would go chase that down thinking it's going to be a shot, so they're going after offensive rebound. But Hadim C doing a great job keeping his eye on the basketball. He must have learned that at his high school. I'm not really sure where he picked up those type of habits.
Played at Oak Hill with Corey coaches. Man, you are shameless.
Shame? What's that?
If I even gave you the definition, you wouldn't read it.
This is true, only because you gave it to me.
Mitchell fouled on a 3-point shot by C. I hope he didn't learn that at Oak Hill.
Well, actually, Shelton Mitchell went to Oak Hill too. So therefore, he fouled another Oak Hill guy. But I'm sure that's not something that Buzz Williams likes from Hadim C, regardless as to where he learned it. He's not happy about that, and I believe we're going to see C having a seat here as Chris Clark and Justin Robinson come to the scores table.
Brad Brownell telling us today Shelton Mitchell is somebody who has to get going for Clemson. They got a point guard when he transferred in from Vandy, but he missed the first 4 games with a knee injury. So then there was an adjustment period on court. Played well for a while during non-conference, has struggled a bit in ACC play.
And ACC play is so different, and more importantly for Shelton Mitchell, when you don't play for a full year, there is an adjustment period. And then he was getting back into shape, playing well, and then had the injury, as you mentioned, missing those first 4 games. So trying to establish your rhythm back after having to miss time is difficult to do, especially for a point guard, because your timing and your rhythm, it means so much to you in this game, and more importantly, getting others involved.
The free throws tie the game at 17. Chris Clark back in the game for Virginia Tech. On the floor with Hill, Leday, Robinson, and Allen. Allen drives the lane, and a foul on the floor. Foul is on Shelton Mitchell, his first.
Foul is on Shelton Mitchell, it's his first.
And this is where Seth Allen is so difficult to defend. It's not just about defending the three-pointer, but he's very good at putting the ball on the floor and getting to the free throw line. You see the game winner versus Georgia Tech, and that was an attempt at the rim. As we see Matt Hill knock down the three-pointer, and where he really brings that dimension to Virginia Tech. We mentioned earlier, 30th man, or 31st nationally, shooting the 3 and continues that hot shooting streak.
Grantham strong to the basket. He's got 5.
And that's tough for Virginia Tech, having to defend that baseline against the size of Clemson in a 1-3-1, because you really only have that one defender back there to try to guard multiple players.
Leday hits from deep. 10 points for Zach Leday, who began his career at South Florida.
And you mentioned talking about Shelton Mitchell and sitting out that year. Zach Leday added a lot to his game.
He came out of nowhere last year.
Yeah, in the year that he was sitting out, he added a lot to his game. I'm not sure if he was playing at the level like this offensively when he left South Florida, so give him credit for putting in the work while he was sitting out.
There's Reed, another transfer, came over from Robert Morris. Here comes Tech on the break. Hill to Clark. Down the lane against the contact. Draws the foul on Chete. And Chris Clark with a chance for a three-point play. Big Monday on ESPN at 7 Eastern. Getting to be desperation time for Mark Gottfried at NC State. The Wolfpack go to Durham to take on 18th ranked Duke. Then at 9, Oklahoma travels to Texas. NC State has lost 4 out of 5. How about the call Jeff Capel made yesterday against Miami, down double digits at the half? Duke began the second half with Luke Kennard, Grayson Allen, and Harry Giles on the bench, and they go on a 22-1 run.
And give Matt Jones, the senior for Duke, a lot of credit, because he was the one that sparked that with his defense and then his ability to knock down the three-pointers. And really for Duke, you know, Matt Jones and Will Jefferson, the seniors, have to be the guys to kind of take ownership of this season and get everything under control, especially with Coach K out with the back surgery.
Blossom game 1 for 4 now from the field as Robinson nearly bumped into Clark. Blossom game first team All-ACC a season ago. Nursing a sprained thumb on his shooting hand. Suffered it in the loss to Louisville Thursday when Clemson was blown out by 32. Leday working on Blossom game. 2 to shoot. Robinson for 3 off the back iron.
We mentioned earlier how often Virginia Tech made teams have to match up to them. Well, Brad Brownell has done just that now. Blossom game at the 5 position, Grantham at the 4.
4th assist already for Shelton Mitchell. And that's a good sign for Brad Brownell. On the other end, it's Hill, fouled going to the basket.
But when you play against Virginia Tech, you can't afford to celebrate any made shots because they come at you in droves. And when I tell you they move fast, I told you Brad Brownell was concerned about the speed. And Virginia Tech doesn't care about you making a shot. They're going to get back down the floor and come back at you offensively.
Seventh team foul against Clemson, so Virginia Tech in the bonus. And this has been a trademark of Buzz Williams' teams the last couple of years at Virginia Tech, their ability to get to the free throw line.
And they do that because they put so much pressure on your defense, attacking the paint with their guards. We mentioned Seth Allen, but it's, of course, Ahmed Hill. You see him get out in transition. Chris Clark, Justin Bibbs, Justin Robinson. It's so many guys, and they don't slow down. They continue to come at you in waves. Right now, Buzz Williams doing a very good job getting his players in and out, keeping them fresh, especially here in the first half, having to play on the road. And he's hoping that will benefit them once they get to the end of this game.
Avery Holmes, shot fake. Here's Holmes for 3. Too strong, the rebound by Outlaw. Here comes the break, Robinson. Leday. And a foul against Clemson. It's on Mitchell. Virginia Tech by 6.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Angry Orchard Hard Cider, Branch Out, and the new Volkswagen Golf All-Track, soon to be everywhere.
The 2 winningest programs in the history of the sport. Run, baby, run! What a capper for a great Big 12 SEC challenge.
This is going to be a blockbuster.
Kansas, Kentucky next Saturday at 6:15 p.m. Eastern. A potential Final Four glimpse. Zach Leday's given Virginia Tech a pretty good glimpse early, 10 points already.
And you see Zach Leday's numbers, what he did in his first 2 years at South Florida. And then moving over to Virginia Tech, we mentioned earlier about the work that he put in in his redshirt year, and it has paid off significantly for Zach Leday as he's come to Virginia Tech and become such a force for Buzz Williams' group and really allows them to be able to play. You know, he's a matchup problem, but they play small because he plays so much bigger than he actually is in stature. And you see already 10 points on 4 for 5 from the field and an opportunity at the free throw line to put more points on the board.
7:42 here in the first half. Leday at the free throw line, and he's been a big reason why Buzz, who's standing right in front of us, still has the jacket on. Both free throws good for the fifth-year senior. He was the team's leading scorer, and he comes off the bench. Largest lead of the game for Virginia Tech. Sticking with the zone. Grantham, corner three. Good. Grantham's got 8. Hill fires from deep, too strong, and the rebound chased down by Grantham. Shelton Mitchell playing with 2 fouls. A lot of dribbling by DeVoe.
And right now, if you're Clemson, you want to try to establish Blossom game in the paint. He's able to get a look there, but unable to finish. And I don't want to make excuses for him, but we talked about Blossom game and that sprained thumb. He had a brace on early today, but not wearing it in the game. And you don't normally see him miss shots that close to the basket that bad.
It is his shooting hand. Leday going to work on Blossom game. It comes to DeVoe. Blossom game 1 for 5 from the field. Here's Mitchell. He's got 4 assists. Kicks to the corner. Make it 5 assists. And it's another 3 for Avery Holmes, his 3rd of the game. And 9 points for Holmes.
And Holmes and Grantham really have kept Clemson in this game with their shooting from beyond the arc. Their 6th three-pointer on the evening. And that's been the difference. Buzz Williams trying to get one of his guys' attention to call a timeout. Probably took about 5 seconds off the clock. A new rule, of course, implemented last year. Coaches can't call them, so he has to get the attention of one of his players.
Both of these teams in conference play have had their struggles defensively. For Clemson, it's been on the glass, but they're giving up more points than they normally do. For Virginia Tech, opponents came into this game shooting 49% from the field in ACC play against the Hokies.
And I don't think it's just Virginia Tech. I think, honestly, college basketball in general, defense has been down, but that's what the freedom of movement rules were designed to do.
Super Tuesday on ESPN. First at 7 Eastern, 2 of the Big 12's best. Number 2, Kansas. To Morgantown to take on 7th-ranked West Virginia and that vaunted press. Then at 9, we go to the SEC. 5th-ranked Kentucky heads to Tennessee. And oh, by the way, in case you don't know, Kentucky and Kansas play on Saturday.
And then Kansas actually has to play Baylor. So
how about that? West Virginia, Kentucky, Baylor.
A tough stretch for Kansas. And right now, Virginia Tech with a 20-6 advantage from the bench. But I mentioned earlier, talking about Buzz Williams, he doesn't want to have drop-off. He wants to be able to bring in guys that allow his team to maintain the same level of play. And that's what happens when you bring a guy like Zach Leday off the bench.
Allen beats the shot clock. Somewhat reminiscent of his game winner against Georgia Tech Wednesday.
And Seth Allen is so dangerous when he's attacking the rim. And when you add his shooting ability, it makes him one of the toughest covers in the ACC.
Good ball movement. DeVoe catch and shoot. Leday the rebound. Leday, the trailer, thought about it. Pass this one up. Drives to the basket. Clark back to Leday. Blocked by DeVoe. Legend Robertine is checked into the game for Clemson. 0-0. As Holmes hit the deck, no call. Here's Hill. And there's that Virginia Tech transition game.
That's what most coaches, when they play against the Hokies, their biggest concern is transition defense. And you see how fast they go from defense to offense. And with so many guards that can finish above the defense, the Hokies are dangerous in the open court. As you see, Holmes goes down with a great kick ahead by Justin Robinson. And then Ahmed Hill does the rest, finishing over top of DeVoe. DeVoe with a huge shot block on the last possession garnered the respect of Ahmed Hill, who just puts it a little bit higher off the glass.
Virginia Tech on top of Clemson. The Tigers came into this game having lost 5 in a row. And two sides to every story. Perspective is important. In some ways, you look at Clemson's conference losses. A tough overtime loss to North Carolina, a game they probably should have had. Lost a close game to Notre Dame, who's 6-1 in league play. Lost by 4 to Virginia in a game that went down the stretch. But their only conference win against Wake Forest, they needed a 15-0 run to close out that game. That could have easily gone the other way.
Absolutely. And when you look at Clemson, we talked about the offensive talent, but really their biggest issue, as you mentioned, has been on the defensive end of the floor. And that's not something that Brad Brownell is used to. He's used to having guys like a Rod Hall and Landry Noko who were defensive-minded players. So it's been an adjustment for Brad Brownell and his staff, trying to get these offensive-minded guys to play the same type of defense that he's had in the past.
1-1 coming up for Virginia Tech. The foul on Ty Hudson, 9th team foul. So the next one against Clemson will put the Hokies in the double bonus.
And it's really a reverse this year as to what Brad Brownell saw last year. Last year, non-conference schedule was a struggle for them. They lost to 3 SEC teams and then came into conference play and knocked off 3 highly ranked teams early in ACC play when they were playing in Spartanburg and finished the ACC season with 10 wins. This year, they've had the great non-conference, good quality wins in non-conference, beat those same 3 SEC teams, 2 of them on the road, but now it's about conference play, and can they get it done in conference? But Gabe DeVoe giving them a huge lift off the bench now makes this a 2-point game.
And we showed it at the top of the broadcast. You look at Clemson's resume, all the metrics that the selection committee likes, it favors Clemson right now despite a 1-5 league record.
But it's going to have to be at least 9, maybe 10 ACC wins for them to be a tournament team, which means they're going to have to go on a strong run here to finish conference play.
Clemson can take the lead with a 3, tie with a 2. There's Blossom game, working against Clark. Kicks it to Hudson. Fall away, not there. Shot clock at 10. The ball did not hit the rim. DeVoe, a long 3, front rim. That shot by Hudson looked like some of the shots I was putting up in warm-ups earlier today.
No, yours look much worse. I watched everyone. I got to a point where I was trying to actually instruct you because I couldn't leave until I saw you make one. I would have never let you let that.
I felt empowered, Corey. I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night. 5 to shoot. Here's Hill. Fading away from the baseline. Got it.
And that's a big bucket for Virginia Tech. Just when Clemson had the momentum going in that favor. And just like that, a turnover in the open court to give the ball back to the Hokies. And Ahmed Hill has been such an addition back in the lineup after missing last year with injury as he gives the Hokies a 4-point lead.
Magic Dino Gotti will come out up at half. We will look ahead at the roads ahead for both Virginia Tech and Clemson. We'll do a little fast break with Seth Allen, and Virginia Tech off to a fast start.
Clemson has to guard their yard, and I'll tell you what that is at halftime.
Point at me like that. Very intimidating.
You guard your yard.
All right, we'll see you at half.
All right, boys, we will see you in a few minutes. 2:38 to go in this first half. Look at what Clemson has coming up. The good news for the Tigers, 1-5 in league play. 7 of their final 12 games are here at Littlejohn.
But now Clemson is at that point to where tonight's game, as well as moving forward at Pittsburgh, a home against Georgia Tech, who's already beaten them in Atlanta, and then Syracuse game. These are must-win games. Now, they don't necessarily have to win at Florida State and at Duke, but you don't have many more opportunities where you can give away games if you're Clemson and you want to be playing in the NCAA tournament in March.
It's tough to qualify a game as a must-win in late January, but again, in this league where there are no easy nights, especially this year, given how much better BC and the Georgia Tech and Wake Forest have been.
Yeah, absolutely, and one of the things talking to Brad Brownell about earlier today, and you hear from so many coaches in the ACC right now, the ACC is such an unforgiving league because even when you have a big win or a tough loss, the next one out is going to be tremendous, just like that finish from Grantham. Beautiful feed from Gabe DeVoe.
Grantham's got 10 in the first half to lead the way for Clemson. He had a nice game Thursday, one of the few, if not only, bright spot in that 32-point loss to Louisville. Here's Bibbs leaning in with the left hand, follows his shot.
That's just an athletic play by Justin Bibbs. They say the shooter is the one that knows where the rebound is going to come off most when you miss, and that was proven by Justin Bibbs as he went up on that second jump and finished it off.
Good family gene pool. Uncle Michael Haynes, a Hall of Fame cornerback, played for the Raiders and Pats. Here's Leday, blocked by Grantham. Loose ball tipped to Bibbs.
And Grantham with a bucket-saving block there, but another defensive breakdown for Clemson. And really, when you see where the issues are, Virginia Tech shooting over 50% from the field, and add to that Justin Bibbs with this beautiful pull-up three.
Bibbs has scored 5 straight. It's a 7-point lead for Virginia Tech. Blossom game has been quiet in this first half. Holmes down the lane, count it, and the foul.
Clemson trying to build some momentum inside Littlejohn. And what better way to do it than Gabe DeVoe finding Dante Grantham way above the rim for the SportsCenter Top 10 nominee, which cut the game to 2. But give Virginia Tech credit. Justin Bibbs with 5 straight points to provide just a little more separation and breathing room for the Hokies before Avery Holmes was able to get to the basket and finish.
Holmes has 11 in the first half. He and Grantham have combined for 21, with Jerron Blossom game being held to just 4 points on 2 of 6 shooting.
And honestly, I believe that there's definitely something going on with that hand of Blossom game. And as a basketball player, you often don't want to wear the brace because that only makes opposing players smack you on the hand. It's almost like a bullseye or a target. But Blossom game has not been the same here this evening.
Grantham another rebound. About a second and a half differential between play clock and game clock. Seconds. Here's Holmes. Three-pointer is good by Marquise Reed. Final seconds. Robinson, the 3, not there. The three-point shot has been big for Clemson. Buzz loses the jacket. His benches come through with 24. Zach Leday has 12 of those. High-scoring, entertaining first half, 41-40 Virginia Tech.
A lot of fast-paced action. You're seeing 2 teams get up and down the floor. I'm sure we've got an exciting second half on the way.
Don't go anywhere. Halftime promises to be even more exciting. Dino Gaudio, Matt Schick, fellas. Welcome back to ACC Sunday Night Basketball on ESPNU. Halftime score, Virginia Tech 41, Clemson 40. Tech 3-3 in conference. Clemson trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. Anish Ralph alongside former Virginia star Corey Alexander. Those of you protesting football and joining us, we thank you. We thought Jerron Blossomgame and Chris Clark were going to be the headliners in this game. We were wrong.
Well, we were wrong, but they have been the headliners for their teams this season so far. So when you see what the two of them have done tonight, it hasn't been the same, but it hasn't also been about them all year long. And that's been the difference for Zach Leday has been the difference for Virginia Tech. And once he comes into the game, he immediately puts so much pressure on the opposing team's defense because what he's able to do on the offensive end of the floor. And Clemson has gotten huge production from Avery Holmes and Dante Grantham. Both those guys combined for 22 points in the first half and shooting 8 of 11 from the field. So they made up for the absence of Blossomgame so far.
And Brad Brownell needs that supporting cast, especially in league play, to be more consistent.
And a year ago, when Blossomgame did not have big games, Clemson struggled. But right now, you see a one-point game at halftime without him, getting off to a great start. So, and I'm sure Jerron Blossomgame will be more aggressive here in the second half. If he can continue to get the production from his teammates, this could be in favor of the Clemson Tigers.
Here's Shelton Mitchell, who had 6 assists in the first half, finds Grantham, doesn't get the bounce, offensive rebound and putback by Sidi Jete, who spent a lot of time on the bench in that first half with 2 fouls.
Only 1 offensive rebound in the first half for Clemson, and one of the things I mentioned was how great a job Virginia Tech did keeping them off the offensive boards. Sidi Jete gets an easy one early, and then, of course, Justin Robinson gets an easy one for Virginia Tech.
Hokies take the lead right back. Clemson took a lead briefly for the first time since it was 3-2, less than 2 minutes into the game. Holmes had a dozen in the first half. Another offensive rebound. Grantham with the tip-in.
And Buzz Williams talked to us about that before the game. When they played zone or even when they were in man, they had to make sure they got in the rotation so there was someone that could be boxed out to keep Clemson off the glass. And we've seen the first 2 possessions, second chance points for the Tigers.
Off the turnover, here comes Mitchell. Kicks to the corner. 3 not there. Long rebound trapped down by Mitchell.
And a 3rd straight offensive rebound for Clemson on their end of the floor. And they hold the lead. And I know Buzz Williams can't be happy with his team's defensive rebounding.
Mitchell came into the game averaging just 3.3 assists per game. He's got 7. Blossomgame 2 for 7 from the field. And I'm with you, Corey. I think that thumb is bothering him.
And those shots, honestly, aren't even close. I mean, and of course, the shooting hand is the one that's bothered, but another turnover for Virginia Tech. But Blossomgame having a hard time, and we haven't really seen him shoot jump shots in this game so far.
Mitchell misfires. 1 point to lead for Clemson. Tigers trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. Robinson accelerates and uses the window.
Beautiful play by Justin Robinson. The second time he's been able to attack the rim and finish here early in the second half. That time taking on the big fella, Sidi Jete. He's still been able to finish.
And this is a big stretch for Virginia Tech, too. Beginning today, 6 of 8 games that are coming up, all on the road as Mitchell has the 3 rim out. And Virginia Tech has not played well on the road this season.
Well, I believe they got off to a great start in the first half, and here it's about stemming the tide. A beautiful feed once again from Robinson, finding Outlaw under the basket. And Clemson came out with great energy, but Virginia Tech has responded very well, and Justin Robinson having a huge hand in that.
Jete, good position down low, left it short.
Another offensive rebound.
Holmes off the kick out from Grantham.
And another offensive rebound, and Buzz Williams is beside himself as he sees his team continue to give up chance after chance. And just like that, Jerron Blossomgame knocks down his first 3-pointer of the evening.
That is a developing sign. He was 7 for 47 on the season from 3 before the Louisville game on Thursday. 2 for 4 against the Cards. Hits a 3 here tonight as Outlaw able to answer on the other end. And for Brad Brownell, he told us Blossomgame just has been pressing from 3-point range. He shot 45% from deep a season ago.
Yeah, and Virginia Tech with a huge response as Outlaw knocks down the 3 just when Clemson was able to tie back up. A huge 3-pointer by Outlaw.
Mitchell able to draw the foul. Big Monday on ESPN. First at 7 Eastern. Dennis Smith and NC State take on Duke. Then at 9, Oklahoma, which had a big road win at West Virginia earlier in the week, will travel to Austin to take on the struggling Longhorns. Foul was on Hadim C, his third. Here's DeVoe, beats Outlaw to the basket, and it's a one-point game.
It doesn't get more valuable than Gabe DeVoe coming off the bench, playing well. Shelton Mitchell missing the first 2 threes that he took here in the second half, and Brad Brownell going to one of his shooters, and DeVoe getting him on the court, and it pays off. Three-pointers have been the helpmate for Clemson. Jerron Blossomgame getting involved in the mix, knocking down his first 3 on the offensive end of the floor, but Ty Outlaw answers the huge 3 to maintain the lead for the Hokies.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Degree Deodorant. It won't let you down.
Oliver Purnell took Clemson to the NCAA tournament in his last 3 years with the Tigers. There's Seth Greenberg. He was Virginia Tech's head coach the last time the Hokies went dancing. That was a decade ago. Virginia Tech with a 1-point lead on Clemson. And our colleague was Virginia Tech's head coach the last time they won in Clemson back in 09.
But give Buzz Williams and his team credit for the way that they've come here and played in this game. But, you know, for Clemson, it's been 5 offensive rebounds for 7 second chance points here early in the second half. Only 1 offensive rebound for no second chance points in the first half. So I'm sure that's something that Buzz Williams talked to his team about in the huddle once they had the opportunity to put a TV timeout. Because, again, that's a way to lose games, especially when you're on the road. That's something that has to be cleaned up for the Hokies if they want to have a chance to be successful here.
Mitchell, DeVoe, Blossomgame, Holmes, and Thomas on the floor for the Tigers, who turn it over.
That's a great idea, but bad execution. Shelton Mitchell, who's handled the ball so well today, and he was anticipating Elijah Thomas turning around, and Thomas turned around, he would have been wide open under the basket. Thomas never turned his head, and it ends up being a turnover. Those are the ones as a point guard, you go back to your guy and say, you know what, I can't trust you anymore. You won't get that one again.
That one falls from the outside. Seth Allen with the 3, just his second field goal. He does have 5 assists to go with his 5 points.
And every time Clemson makes a run, Virginia Tech has had an answer thus far in this game.
Out of bounds to the Hokies. Virginia Tech had a great win Wednesday against Georgia Tech. It looked like they had that game in hand. The Yellow Jackets came back, and the man with the ball, Seth Allen, hit the game winner. In the final 20 seconds, Zach Leday does not get the roll on the road. Entry pass to Thomas, over Leday, and Elijah Thomas, the sophomore out of Dallas, with the field goal.
And you see how good Elijah Thomas is on the block. When he gets his opportunities down there, he's taking advantage of them, and Clemson looks for him once he checks into the game.
And Bibbs threw it away.
And without Jerron Blossomgame really being able to operate in the post, Brad Brownell calling Elijah Thomas's number, and a beautiful, somewhat of a little dream shake right there. Able to finish with the right-hand jump hook. Elijah Thomas showing off a few of his skills down on the block.
With Blossomgame struggling, the supporting cast, the ensemble has stepped up. Mitchell's got more than a handful of assists. DeVoe's got 5 rebounds. Can't get the 3 there. Ramtham and Holmes have provided scoring punch. Allen drives the lane. That smooth southpaw gets the deuce.
It's so hard to guard Seth Allen, especially when you can't put a forearm or put your hands on him. You're really at his mercy, especially when he gets a full head of steam.
There's Blossom Game for three, and that shot may have come back to Jerron Blossom Game.
Now, wait a minute. You're saying that he's got a sprained thumb. He can't make a jump hook, but he's now hit a three in both corners.
Can't predict basketball, my friend. Can't predict basketball. Robinson kicks to Allen for the answer. Not there. Blossom Game calling for it. His lob is tipped away. Thomas recovers, doubled. DeVoe, great position. Clark leading the break. Reverse layup not there. The tip by Clark doesn't fall. Grantham getting ready to check in for Clemson. Gibbs and C at the scores table for Tech. Blossom Game. Better off shooting it from three.
He's had more success from three, but I like him around the basket, being aggressive.
Allen up top, Leday, that's a three. Too strong. And an offensive foul against Avery Holmes.
Jerron Blossom Game has had his struggles in the paint, but when he's stepped beyond the arc, he's had major success. Clemson hanging around at home, trailed the Hokies by 1.
Tonight on ESPN at 11 Eastern, Sports Center at night. Maybe we see a couple of plays from this game. Bucci and Anderson in the anchor chair. Supposedly a couple of football games happening today. Two major upsets in Melbourne at the Australian Open. Bruins Penguins got an early intermission on the ice. Details on that all coming up. Sports Center at night. Jerron Blossom Game 2 for 8 inside the arc, 2 for 2 outside the arc. He's got a sprained right thumb. You make sense of it, Corey.
Well, I'm not sure if you can make sense of it, but you know, one thing if you're Jerron Blossom Game, you don't want to stop trying to score in the paint because of course that's where his bread is buttered. And we had an opportunity to see him earlier today, and you see that wrap on his thumb, and that is his right hand, his shooting hand. Didn't come out. He's not playing with that wrap. And again, one of the tougher young men that you're going to come across, especially playing basketball in the ACC right now. But yet, that support, I'm not sure it was there. And even when you watch him shoot the jump hook, he's not really extending as like you would normally see. But he hasn't had a problem shooting the three. Maybe it's been beneficial for the jump.
Skip pass from Bibbs. And we've got a whistle and a foul. It's on Gabe DeVoe. All right, Corey, as a shooter, your right thumb is the problem area. How does that affect your shot specifically on the release?
Well, when you shoot at basketball, in all honesty, there are only 3 fingers that touch the basketball when you're releasing it. Your thumb, your index finger, and your pinky. Everything else is basically about getting the ball out of your hand. You don't want your palm on it. It's Seth Allen shows it the right way to be done. But really, when everything else, you don't want to grip the basketball. You're just lightly touching it with those other fingers. But the ball rests on your thumb. So therefore, that's where the issue is, especially when you're trying to shoot the jump hook, because you have to carry it up to the rim.
Blossom Game kicks to Grantham, and that 3 rattles home. Dante Grantham with 18.
It's been big shot after big shot this entire game. Both teams stepping up, especially here in the second half, knocking him down from 3.
Bibbs at the other end. Off the side of the rim. He follows his shot and gets the lefty leaner to go. Correction, Grantham has 15. Here's Holmes from the corner. That's a 3, and that falls.
I Tell you what, partner, this is fun.
Exclamation point, Blossom game. Clark lost it. Clemson basketball.
Give credit to the crowd here at Littlejohn Coliseum for the energy that was just inserted into this building, resulting in a turnover and this monstrous finish by Jerron Blossom.
Blossom game has a dozen after the slow start.
Anisha, I said it earlier, when I was playing in the ACC, coming into this building was one of the toughest places to play. And that stretch right there from the crowd here at Littlejohn just gave me chills and flashbacks all at the same time.
Allen shot fake through the contact, and he'll shoot two. And the foul is on Dante Grantham. His first, fourth team foul.
That's one of those special moments in college basketball. You can't replicate that. That's just all natural. The Clemson fans, and really applauding their team defensively, and honestly encouraging them to come up with the great defensive possession, the turnover, turning into the dunk, and then another turnover just like that. It's been a while since I've heard Littlejohn sound like this.
Check that third team foul on Clemson. I've done a lot of Clemson football games the last couple of years, and I know how Death Valley can get. Memorial Stadium rocking and loud and shaking. So these fans have the potential to be loud when they want to be.
And when they mentioned that they were going to do the renovation, the first thing I said was I hope they get the crowd back into games at Littlejohn and get the student section involved the way it was back in the early 90s when I was playing in the ACC. And I tell you, that stretch right there, kudos to this crowd for the way that they encourage their team.
Bibbs got his hand on the inbounds. Hill on the run out. Flushes! And Virginia Tech back on top.
And now, as impressive as the crowd was, even more impressive, the answer from the Hokies, just like that, a 4-0 run. And more importantly, Buzz Williams not having to call a timeout and calm his team down, but the veterans, Seth Allen, Ahmed Hill, guys stepping up, making big plays.
10 to shoot. DeVoe down the lane. And an offensive foul.
On the underneath out-of-bounds play, you see the errant pass. And Justin Bibbs with the great tip. Ahmed Hill with the dunk, just like that, a 4-0 run to give the Hokies the lead back. And more importantly, the answer to the rowdy crowd here at Littlejohn Coliseum. The officials are just trying to see who the foul was on.
They're going to call it on DeVoe. That's his third. And now DeVoe gets an earful from his head coach.
But the difference is he gets an earful and he stays in the game. You'll take that earful. The one where you get the earful and you got to go sit down, that's the problem. Coach, I don't care what you say to me as long as you leave me on the court.
2-point lead for the Hokies.
And just like that, now Clemson actually going to what looks like to go 1-3-1 zone. We saw Virginia Tech playing in the first half. Brad Brownell mixing up his defenses.
Allen banks it home. He's his own breaker with his dribble ability.
And it doesn't matter which defense has been in the second half. Seth Allen now with 12 points alone, 14 for the game. And he's been a difference maker, especially when Clemson made a run and had momentum on their side. It was Seth Allen who's come up with two big possessions to top it off.
Clark tries to save it. out of bounds. A 6-0 run by the Hokies after Clemson took charge and got this crowd into the ballgame.
Clemson Tigers brought back memories of the early 90s. Avery Holmes knocking down the three. And then Jerron Blossom game with the finish. Reminded me of the days of Chris Whitney and Sharon White making big plays here in Littlejohn Coliseum. But Virginia Tech with the answer here to take a 6-0 run and a 4-point lead.
All the stars have started to show up in the second half. Jerron Blossom game, quiet in the first 20 minutes. He now has a dozen. Seth Allen quiet in the scoring column in the first half. He's got 12 points here in the second half.
He was more of a facilitator early, but now when you think about it, when Virginia Tech needed points most, Seth Allen has stepped up huge, especially answering the call to that Clemson run. And when you're talking about winning on the road, you've got to have guys not only willing to take big shots, but able to make big shots. And Seth Allen is one of those guys. And that's the reason why Buzz Williams loves him so much. It's simply because he knows the ball and his team is in good hands with Seth Allen on the floor.
Careless turnover that time. Mitchell didn't see the pass coming.
That's tough coming out of a timeout. Brad Brownell has drawn up what he wants from his team in a crucial time where you need a basket. And that's not a fourth turnover. That's simply Shelton Mitchell taking his eye off the basketball.
Allen the lob for Leday. 14 for Leday. 6 dishes for Seth Allen.
Clemson at this point need to recognize Elijah Thomas has Seth Allen trying to defend him, get him the basketball, and a beautiful find by Shelton Mitchell there, recognizing the mismatch and getting the ball into Thomas's hands.
Thomas has 7. He was ejected in the second half of that Louisville game for arguing. Mid-year transfer from Texas A&M last year. To sit out the first 9 games this year. Clark shot blocked. Out of bounds. It'll stay with Virginia Tech.
We mentioned Buzz Williams being happy with the ball in Seth Allen's hands, and this is the reason why. The look-off and the beautiful feed to Zach Leday, who's able to finish off of the turnover from Clemson to extend the lead to 6. Of course, Clemson comes back with the basket, but the longer you go and keep that breathing room for Virginia Tech, the tougher it becomes to Clemson to try to win this game even on their own home court.
Leday, the lob for Clark.
The luxury that Buzz Williams has of having so many playmakers on the floor. You've got Zach Leday, who's really your 5-man at that point, making a beautiful feed to Chris Clark athletically on the baseline.
Clark came away to steal the entry pass, but it'll stay with Clemson.
Most teams don't want their 5-man with the basketball at the top of the key. Not only is Buzz Williams comfortable with his, but he trusts Zach Leday up top. Finds Chris Clark for a beautiful finish to increase the lead for Virginia Tech to 6.
Buzz Williams has his best 5 on the floor. Mitchell to the basket, able to draw the foul. Shelton Mitchell to the free throw line. Foul on Zach Leday, his first. Only the second team foul on the Hokies.
A good decision to drive the basketball by Shelton Mitchell there. He's taken a number of jumpers today, hasn't been falling for him from the outside, done a very good job facilitating. But he's a young man that knows how to get to the rim and finish. He's unable to come up with the first free throw. But Shelton Mitchell, again, needs to be able to be one of those guys that puts more pressure on opposing defenses by getting into the paint and not only to score on his own, but also to find his teammates.
He's done all of his damage from the free throw line. All 3 points at the stripe. 0 for 4 from the field. An 80% free throw shooter. He misses both, but another offensive rebound for Clemson. There's Mitchell in the lane. Drops it off for Thomas, who slams it home.
And again, Shelton Mitchell attacking the paint. He's a great passer, and that's where he really needs to live. I got no problem with him taking the jump shot. But when it's not falling, he needs to live in that purple area.
He's got 8 assists. Here's Ledet working on Thomas. Kicks to Hill. Short. Grantham over Clark. Way off the mark. Clark skies for the outlet. Loose ball to Grantham. Fast break for Clemson. Mitchell, the lob. And Blossom game to the line to shoot 2.
And that's a good foul by Seth Allen. Even though Blossom game had a chance to finish that off, the reason it's such a good foul by Seth Allen, because if he doesn't get over there and get contact on Blossom game, that is a highlight level dunk, which brings this crowd to its feet once again. So therefore the foul, sending Blossom game to the line and making him have to earn those 2 points, is a much bigger difference than if he would have got that highlight slam.
Free throw good by Blossom game, just a tick under 70% on the season. A young man who flirted with going pro last year, in fact. Attended the NBA draft combine. You had a chance to talk to him about his decision to return to school.
And he really has worked on his game, and the numbers haven't been as good shooting the ball from the perimeter. But yet, you can tell that he's a more complete player this year, even more so than he was last year. And he has a chance to win with this Clemson team. He's really a believer in what they're doing here at Clemson, and it considers himself to be a huge part of his Clemson family and wanted to be a part of it one more year.
Timeout, Buzz Williams. Virginia Tech with a 3-point lead on Clemson. 5:07 to go in regulation. Nish Rob, Corey Alexander, partner. Who does Jerron Blossom game remind you of?
Well, he reminds me of a guy, and of course, there are always going to be differences, but a young man who was ACC Player of the Year a few years back and now has had a long career in the NBA, at Jared Dudley. And Dudley was known now more as a shooter, but that really wasn't his game when he was in college. He was more of a tweener, could shoot the basketball, but more importantly, he was a guy that was able to score in so many different ways and facets, a similar size. And Dudley made the transition. Once he got to the NBA, he became a much better shooter from the outside. And if Jared Blossom can do very similar things, I believe he'll have a long NBA career as well.
Could you imagine Jared and Dudley in the Twitter era when he was at BC in the ACC?
No, I could not. I mean, and again, I couldn't imagine myself in the Twitter era when I was playing in the 90s in the ACC. So I feel for these young players, honestly. I mean, I just look at the way that people light me up on Twitter when they listen to games. I can only imagine what they do to these young, and I don't care what they say, but these guys do. So at the end of the day, I can only imagine what
Alexander VA.
They can say whatever they want. Does not faze me one iota.
3-point lead for the Hokies, looking to get one on the road. Clemson trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. 10 to shoot. Ledet sets the screen. Bibbs has it taken away. Here's Blossom game. Ahead of the break. Gets the roll. It's a 1-point game.
Blossom game actually came down and slipped on a wet spot after he made this beautiful defensive play and finished at the other end of the floor. Jerron Blossom game getting to the rim, and we mentioned he hasn't had a huge offensive output today, yet he continues to make winning plays, and that's what's most important to Jerron Blossom game. Winning basketball games and doing it in this Clemson uniform. He talked to us about it earlier today, and never more evident than seeing him make a play like that.
What's wrong with this picture? The jacket is still on, and there's 4.5 minutes left in the ballgame.
Buzz has been very calm, cool, and collected today. And you see, he does it all. It's not even just about, he actually saw Blossom game slip right in front of him, and the two of them collaborate on wiping up the floor, although Buzz was doing most of the hard work there. Blossom game was doing more of the directing.
Clark. 5 to shoot. Clark somehow found room. One to shoot. Here comes Clemson. They can take the lead with a 2. Awesome game. Working on Clark. Over Clark. The tip by Jeté not there.
But I tell you, that looked a lot better. Him shooting the jump hook looked a little more comfortable on that possession. And at this point, Jerron Blossomgame's not thinking about that thumb anymore. That adrenaline is pumping here.
Robinson down the lane. Here's Hill. Robinson. No good. Rebound to Blossomgame, his 4th pull.
And right now, if you're Clemson, you want to bring it out and get your best play going. Get a great opportunity here. This is a crucial time. You know you've got the media timeout coming. You want to make sure you get a quality look on the offensive end.
DeVoe for the lead. Offensive rebound to Jeté.
And again, you get another opportunity at it. No need to rush. Still a lot of time left to go in this game. But you want to see if you can get some points on the board right here and take this lead. Don't continue to trail Virginia Tech, especially here on your own home court.
Here comes Blossomgame. Blocked by Ledet. Out of bounds to Virginia Tech. We're set up for another great finish in the ACC. A 1-point game in Clemson, South Carolina.
It's been a rough go of late for the USC Trojans. Chimezie Metu has been one of the bright spots, averaging 14 a game. USC looking for a key home conference win coming up next, just like Clemson is. And
A lot left to be decided here at Littlejohn Coliseum. 29-29 in the second half. Here's what's interesting. Virginia Tech is shooting 57% in the second half. Clemson, though, has made up for the difference with 7 offensive rebounds.
And when you look at it, both those 12 field goals, and you saw it earlier, it was a 1-point lead going into halftime for Virginia Tech, and here we are. It's still a 1-point lead for Virginia Tech. 2 evenly matched teams. A must-win for Clemson. And for Virginia Tech to continue to bolster their resume going into the postseason, this will be a great win for them. And you can tell by the actions on the court, both coaches coaching extremely hard. Players playing extremely hard. My man Buzz now taking off the jacket. It's crunch time. Let's see who's going to win this game.
Yeah, that shirt is not going to be spared any sweat stains over the final 240.
We wouldn't expect for it to. Buzz is working hard. You know, he's a big workout guy. Your metabolism is going. You sweat a lot. I know that.
1-point lead for the Hokies with the ball. Ledet down low. Clark with the basket and the foul. Foul is on DeVoe, his 4th.
And that's the second time that Zach Ledet and Chris Clark have teamed up for a beautiful feed. Scary result to that play. Gabe DeVoe trying to get over and contest the shot. He slips and goes down. Clark goes down. But how about the beautiful feed from Zach Ledet, making a great pass to Chris Clark, finishing under the basket.
Clark coming off the bench for his 2nd straight game. He did not get the start Wednesday against Georgia Tech after showing up late to shoot around for that game. Three-point play is good. It's a 4-point advantage for the Hokies.
Hokies go back to the 1-3-1. And they have to identify the shooters. The way that Clemson shot the ball today, you got to know where the shooters are all the time.
Blossomgame's 3 is off. Less than 2 minutes to play in regulation. Seconds on the shot clock. 5 seconds. Clark, shot fake. And he traveled. 11th turnover for Virginia Tech.
Brad Brownell going with Elijah Thomas on the offensive end of the floor. Thomas a much better scorer than Jate. And of course, if you're Clemson, you don't need to try to make everything up beyond the three-point arc right now. It's simply about putting points on the board and getting back on defense, trying to get a stop against Virginia Tech.
There's Blossom game. Skip pass intercepted by Allen.
Great defensive rotation by Seth Allen. Almost like a cornerback reading the eyes of a quarterback on that play.
Well, you know where the great corners come from. Virginia Tech, DBU.
I'm going to go with they just come from Virginia, the whole state. How about that?
Allen down the lane, kicks it out to Clark. And he had that shot. Continuation on the basket. No basket. No basket. Offensive foul.
Sam Zach Leday pushed off with that left arm. Going to the basket. See Leday putting the ball on the floor. Avery Holmes getting over in front. Leday does lower the shoulder, but he does not extend the arm. But give Avery Holmes credit, making a huge defensive stand there.
1 minute remaining.
Here's DeVoe falling away. Blossom game, an offensive rebound, and the putback. And a timeout by Brad Brownell. 73-71, less than a minute to play.
And the offensive glass really has been the best offense for Clemson here in the second half. 8 offensive rebounds in the second half alone. So when you think about Clemson, and Jerron Blossom game continues to compete regardless of the score, regardless of the situation. Hasn't had much fall for him around the basket, but comes up with a huge rebound and 2 second chance points.
17 for a first-team All-ACC selection a season ago. Blossom game, who had scored 20 or more in 4 of his previous 5 games.
Ron Blossom game has had a different night than what he's used to. Knocking down the 3 from the right corner. Then finding the left corner 3. Blossom game shooting the ball extremely well from the perimeter. But this is where he's at his best. In the open floor. Showing off his athleticism. And of course coming up with a huge offensive rebound putback to make this a 1-possession game.
Clark to inbound. He does to Leday. And now Clark will drop it off to Robinson, who brings it up. 40 seconds on the game clock. Allen in trouble. And he is fouled. Only the 6th team foul against Clemson. Next one will put Virginia Tech in the bonus.
And not a bad foul right there if you're Clemson, because you want to get rid of that foul to give. And make sure if they do deliberately foul, because I don't think Brad Brownell wants to allow Virginia Tech to run 30 seconds off of this clock, because by the time they get it back, it's about 8 seconds.
Clark slings one into the corner. Allen hits from the outside. A huge 3 by Seth Allen. Holmes answers. It's a 3-point game with 22 seconds left. A timeout by Brad Brownell.
We told you about big shots. Great ball movement by Virginia Tech. And they got it into the hands of the man. Seth Allen stepping up with a huge 3 to provide some separation for Virginia Tech. However, Avery Holmes coming back and knocking down the 2. Still a 1-possession game.
Allen's got 17, 15 in the second half. And remember, he was the hero on Wednesday with the game winner against Georgia Tech.
And he's the most dangerous man at the end of games for Virginia Tech, because he can play off the dribble. He can shoot the 3. He can find his teammates and make everyone better. And Seth Allen has really showed us his entire arsenal here in this game, in which they needed all of it on the road.
5 out of 6 from the field here in the second half. He was a facilitator in that first half. He's got 6 assists in the game. And now if you're Clemson, Only 16 fouls, so the next one would put Virginia Tech to the line, but it's just a 1-and-1. And if you're going to foul somebody, Allen might be the guy. As well as he shot it from three and from the field this season, inexplicably only a 57% free throw shooter, although he's a 76% free throw shooter for his career.
And I'm not sure if he's the guy I want to foul because it's clear that Seth Allen is not afraid of the moment. If I got to pick someone to foul for Virginia Tech, I'm going with someone different because he's proven that making big shots is not a problem.
Chris Clark, only a 65% free throw shooter, but he'll inbound.
Right now, if you're Clemson, you want to go for a quick trap to see if you get a turnover, and if not, foul quickly.
Leday trapped in the corner, and he is fouled.
And that's it. Sidney Leitch did not cut off the baseline. Honestly, if he'd got that baseline cut off, I believe Clemson would have taken their chances and trying to get him in the trap and see if they can get a turnover out of it. But being that he didn't get over and cut off that sideline, they were forced to foul.
So Leday to the line for a 1-and-1. A 75% free throw shooter on the season, and 3 for 3 tonight. It's the first. Holmes, Mitchell, DeVoe, Blossom Game, and Grantham on the floor for Clemson. All of them can hit the three. 2-possession game, 21 seconds to go. Here comes Mitchell. Mitchell to the basket. And it's a three-point game with 13.4 to go.
Same rules apply. See if you can get a turnover. And if not, you've got to foul immediately.
And DeVoe fouls Robinson, a 76% free throw shooter. 0 for 1 tonight. And that is 5 fouls on Gabe DeVoe, so he's done.
And this for Virginia Tech. If you can continue to go to the free throw line, which they've done all night tonight, and have success, they can walk out of Littlejohn with the win.
Talking to Buzz Williams before the game, he says you find out a lot about your team on the road. 1-and-1 for Robinson. And he calmly sinks the first. Hokies 13 out of 14 from the charity stripe. That's how you win on the road.
Absolutely.
Both free throws good for Robinson. 10 seconds. Blossom Game. He'll fire the three and he hits. Not done yet. It's a 2-point game. 5.9 seconds to go. 18 fouls on Clemson. So if the Tigers were to foul, it's still a 1-and-1 for Virginia Tech and the door is open.
And still, if they get a foul in really within a second, they still have 5 seconds to get down the floor and get a quality shot up. But they're going to need to rely on Virginia Tech to at least miss one free throw. I think we'll only see one more possession in this game. So Virginia Tech, as long as they handle the basketball, get to the free throw line, and make both free throws, they're in good shape. Anything other than that could leave a scare in the mind of the Hokies.
20 points for Blossom Game. The 18th 20-point game of his career, the 9th this season. And he's now done it in 5 of the last 6. But Clemson right now staring at a 6th consecutive loss. Virginia Tech, meanwhile, looking for a 2nd straight win and trying to get to 4-3 in ACC play. Clark will inbound once again. He gets it into Bibbs, and that's Virginia Tech's best free throw shooter headed to the foul line.
Foul is on Sheldon Mitchell, his 3rd.
Justin Bibbs on the season, an 86% free throw shooter.
But Bibbs hasn't been to the line a lot. And you also have to take that into consideration. And right now, if you're Clemson, the only thing that you have is to make sure that you rebound the basketball, push it down the floor as fast as you can. Bibbs, no free throws tonight, so this is his first time going to the line. A lot of pressure on this shot.
It's a 1-and-1. Hits the first,
and Bibbs steps up calmly. That's an important one, because the worst that Clemson can do is now tie the game. Bibbs now has an opportunity to win it right here for Virginia Tech.
Hokies only 14 fouls, so they can foul. They've got some fouls to give if he misses.
If he makes it, it doesn't matter.
And he makes it. There comes Mitchell in the final seconds. Three-pointer is good by Holmes, but that's just bookkeeping. Virginia Tech gets out of Littlejohn Coliseum with a road win. And Clemson has now lost 6 in a row, Corey.
And that's a tough loss for Clemson. But give Virginia Tech credit. Every time Clemson made a run, Seth Allen and the Hokies stepped up and made a huge play to answer.
Final score from Clemson, South Carolina. It's the Hokies with an 82-81 win against the Tigers. Coming up next, Arizona State at USC. Off you go to Los Angeles.